Hello, here is Soda, and we're here again in another episode of HBN Slot. So, in this episode, we're gonna see the chemical plant and the refinery and the catalytic cracking tower. But first, I wanna show you something, and here is the steel furnace with 16 stone bricks, 4 iron ingots, 16 steel plates, 8 industrial grade copper, and 16 steel grate. And the fruit burner with 4 steel tanks, 3 steel pipes, 12 titanium ingots, and 8 industrial grade coppers. So, these steel tanks are crafted with steel plates and titanium plates in this order. The pipes are crafted in the anvil. Now, the fruit burner, it's a really good alternative to the conventional heating oven. Let me show you that. Okay, now this thing has good oil. Another thing, with a screwdriver, you can change the configuration of this thing. Now this thing is working with a higher temperature. And this is Furnarce. As you can see, pretty fast in the beginning, and it has a bonus of an extra item every time you burn an ore. Now the chemical plant. To build the chemical plant, you will need the soldering station. So, to build the soldering station, you will need 2 cast steel plates, 4 copper coils, 4 tungsten bolts, and 2 baking tubes. Now you have the soldering station. Now, with 2 insulators, 2 aluminum wires, and aluminum power, you can make a capacitor. Now, with an insulator and a gold plate, you can make printed circuit board. You can use a gold plate or a copper plate, but if you use a gold plate, it will give you 4. Now, in the soldering station with capacitor, baking tubes, printed circuit boards, and LED wires, you can make an analog circuit board. And with tungsten wire and 1 of iron ingot, you can make heating coils. Now, with this and other materials, you can craft this chemical plant. With 3 heating coils, 8 insulator, analog circuit board, 4 steel tanks, 12 steel ingots, and 6 copper plates, you can make the chemical plant. Now, the chemical plant, I wanna show you the concrete production. With a machine template folder, you can select it. So with cement, there is this craft sink and gravel and tank, in this case infinity water tank, but you can craft with aluminum plate, diamonds, and water buckets, and sand. Now, with this, you can craft concrete. So now, the next thing is the arc welder. To make the arc welder, you will need 4 cast steel plates, 8 tungsten ingots, a transformer, and graphite electrode. So first, to make the graphite electrode, you will need the combination oven. Just put some coal in the combination oven, and with the burner press and a flat stamp without any pattern, you can make the graphite ingots. With the graphite ingots and steel bolts, you can make the graphite electrode. Now, the transformer are crafted like this, with grade copper, capacitor, iron ingot, and superconducting coil. With its crafted with an advanced alloy wire, which it's crafted with advanced alloy ingots, or with its crafted in the tier 4 anvil, or in the burner press, or in the crucible. So yeah, now with all of these you can make the arc welder. Now with the arc welder and with 2 cast steel plates you can make a welded steel plate, and with 3 welded steel plates, 6 in copper, 6 steel shells, 12 steel pipes, 8 insulators, 3 analog circuit board, you can make the oil refinery. Now, in order to find oil, you will need the oil reservoir detector, which is crafted with steel plates, industrial grade copper, gold wire, and analog circuit board. So, how this thing works is that when you are above a oil reserve and you do right click, it will tell you if there's oil in where you are. Now, the oil derrick, it's crafted with steel scaffold. There it's crafted like this: steel tanks, motors, steel pipes, and titanium drive. With its crafted with kite speed steel ingot and titanium plates and kite speed steel bolts, and it's crafted with cobalt, tungsten, and steel in the crucible. So I tried this in the other world and it didn't work. I don't know why, but I made this thing here and it seems to work. So let me explain you how this thing works. First things, the oil derrick. Behind the oil derrick, it's the oil deposit, and with power we have oil. This oil is going to this tank. Apart from the oil, we have natural gas too. The crude oil are being stored in this tank, and the crude oil it's going to the spoiler to make hot crude oil. The hot crude oil it's going to the refinery, and with a little of power we have worked in the oil refinery. Also the oil refinery will gonna give you sulfur, and the oil refinery will give you heavy oil, naphtha, light oil, and petroleum gas. Just like this, as you can see. So yeah, pretty easy system. So we're back in this world. As you can see, I have to change the boilers because they explode if they receive too much oil. So now let's talk about the last thing I wanted to show you, and it's the catalytic cracking tower and the fractioning tower. Yeah, that thing. So we're gonna see all of this. Look at that, it looks wonderful. But first I wanna show you the crafting of this thing. So this thing are crafted in the assembly machine, and it requires 16 steel scaffold, 6 steel shell, 4 polymer bar or bakelite bar, 2 niobium ingot, 12 clay catalyst, and in the case of the polymer bar you will need wall powder, chloride, and petroleum gas. Now the petroleum gas are made in the oil refinery. So yeah, I guess you have to make the oil refinery in order to have the catalytic cracking tower. Because I've seen other methods to have this. Because there is other methods, like in the cracking, some recipes give you that, and I don't even know how to use these machines, if I'm being honest. I don't know how advanced is this, but there is a recipe. This one, petroleum gas gland. Maybe something natural, I don't know. This one, gas shale. So maybe you can do this without making the refinery. So yeah, I'm not sure, maybe it's a mineral of other planet. So basically you will need petroleum gas, coal powder, or actually not as coal powder. Actually, what you need is any type of. But yeah, you need some type of powder. In this case, I'm using coke powder, or you can use lignite coke powder, petroleum coke powder, and just coal power. And yeah, it will give you polymer bar. Now the next thing is the neodymium ingot. This thing you can have it with neodymium ore. If I'm being honest, I've never seen this before, so I'm not sure if this thing is in this planet, but if not, there's an alternative that it's with the crucible or the electrical furnace, or well, the electrical furnace is just the same as smelting. Well, in the crucible you can have it with the neodymium fragment, and you can have the neodymium fragment with rare earth or chunk, and that's what we're gonna do. So in the anvil we just search for the rare earth or chunk, and with a little of luck we're gonna have the neodymium fragments. In this case, one stack give me 38 fragments. So let's see, it's gonna ever be good with that. It is. And just like that, we have the 2 ingots that we needed. Now, the clay catalyst. This recipe is pretty easy, just you need iron powder and clay. And now, you should be able to craft that. Let's put everything here. And it's crafting that thing, that shit. Yay. And we have the catalytic cracking tower. Now, one of the very first things you can do is use this farm, the wood oil, to for this here. Change the type of the catalytic cracking tower to the wood oil, and with steam, this thing works with the steam, so it will need steam and it will return low pressure steam. In my case, I use a system underground of those things that fits every machine with the solar tower boiler, and also this is gonna give you heating oil and aromatic hydrocarbons. Yay. Now this thing doesn't have much good oil, I don't know why. Okay, something is broken in this farm, I don't know why. I don't know what. Yep, maybe it's because I have too much machines. It's not feeding this machine. So yeah, now is this machine it's what is next, right? The fractioning tower. So the fractioning tower are crafted with weld steel plates. Seems like not. Well, I mistook the order. But yeah, a pretty easy crafting recipe. And now, the fractioning tower separator. It's with steel shell and iron bars. Okay, I was wrong, again. But yeah, that's the crafting recipes. Now, first things first. How this thing works is that you can accumulate several of these things. So if you change one of the fractioning tower to, in this case, work with light oil, you can only change the one of the bottom, but it will change everything that are up. Now if you want to work with other liquids, you can use the separator and it will have a different liquid. In this case, this fractioning tower is working with heavy oil and this one with light oil. So yeah, that's how the use of the separators. Now let's explain this thing. With light oil in the fractioning tower, it will give you diesel and kerosene. With naphtha, it will give you heating oil and diesel. And with heavy oil, it will give you bitumen and industrial oil. Let's see this one off here first. So this thing, the bitumen, you can pour this in the catalytic cracking tower and it will give you crude oil and aromatic hydrocarbons. Let me show you that. Crude oil and aromatic hydrocarbons. Yay. Now The industrial oil, this thing can also go again the fracking tower, and it will give you heating oil and engine lubricant, but it also can go in the catalytic cracking tower again, and it will give you naphtha and petroleum gas. Let me show you that. Here is heating oil, and this is a nameless tank, heating oil, engine lubricant. So yeah, it's also producing engine lubricant, as you can see. Now this one, it's producing naphtha and petroleum gas, as you can see. Now which other one? This one, the heating oil don't have. So the heating oil don't have any uses. It doesn't have uses, right? So if I'm not wrong, the heating oil don't have any other uses on the cracking tower or the fractioning tower. The same with kerosene and I forget about this. And this thing is the naphtha and the petroleum gas. Now the naphtha also can go again in the fractioning tower, and it will give you heating oil and diesel. Actually, let me show you that. Here is heating oil and diesel. Yeah. Now the last one, the diesel. It can also go in the catalytic cracking tower, and it will give you kerosene, petroleum gas. Let me show you that. Here is the kerosene and petroleum gas. So yeah, I guess this was all for today's tutorial, and leave a like and that type of things. Well, actually, I forgot to say something. This is not all of oil production. There is several things I didn't mention. For example, there is the cracked oil or the vacuum refinery. But those things are pretty more advanced for me, and if I'm being honest, I don't wanna make this video much longer. And so tell me, you wanna me to talk about that, or I don't know. If I'm being honest, this thing is all the things that I know of this month. This is the peak, my peak of understanding of this month. So yeah, what do we do next after this? I'm not sure. I have to investigate about the mode. So yeah, I think that's all. I hope you like it, and subscribe and that type of things. Yay.